and then De La Soul, and then Chuck Chill Out from back in the day, the old school DJ.
Yes,
he was the DJ for the tour, and we was happy to receive Dougie Fresh, and
Yes,
Get Fresh crew, along with Slick Rick on a couple of the dates.
Right.
So it was beautiful, man. The people came out. It was sold out. It was sold out shows all across the country. I believe it was 28 cities. We didn't hit Chicago, Miami, and a couple of other markets, but nonetheless, they said they might want to do a part 2 and definitely Public Enemy's open. But it was a beautiful tour. It was happy to see that older people such as ourselves,
Yes, sir.
I don't know, people that's listening, the age demographic, but they were bringing their children out.
Yes, sir. That's
to
right.
experience
Second
to
and third
experience
generation. Yes,
old
sir.
school hip hop.
That's right. Yeah, the golden age, the real hip hop, the genuine hip hop, brother. Yes, sir. Please continue.
Exactly. So I was meeting some gentleman that had been to 8 Public Enemy shows, and then I met his son and his nephew.
Yes,
You understand what I'm saying? Which who are fans of mine because of the YouTube and the information and the books that I put out.
Yes, sir.
And the interviews like this one. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I'm having to connect with dad.
That's right.
And the nephew and the son.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Which is a beautiful thing.
That's right.
Which is a beautiful thing.
It's a must. Yes, sir. Talk about, of course, as the last time I had you on, your introduction and induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and of course, the persons that introduced you was our great elder Harry Belafonte, along with I think Spike Lee. But talk about, I think, the importance of the induction of Public Enemy into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I think as we came up, good brother, we witnessed and we enjoyed and resonated with the career of Harry Belafonte.
That's right.
As we studied, as we researched, we found out that Harry Belafonte was behind a lot of what went on in private now.
That's right.
In the civil rights movement, who he financed and this kind of thing. We don't need to necessarily drop names.
Yes, sir.
But if we must,
Right.
he was there behind Dr. Martin Luther King.
That's right. Yes, sir.
And taking his money into it. But good brother, listen, that's an example for these artists today.
Yes, sir. that was definitely my next question that we're going to get into. Yes,
that's
sir.
a blueprint.
That's right. Yes,
You
sir.
don't necessarily got to come out and take a side.
Right.
Put your money like the other people do. Put your money
Right.
behind those people that will advance us,
That's
not
right.
that individual.
Yes, sir. Clearly.
That will advance the cause,
Right.
because that's what they do behind their lobbies, behind their groups,
That's
behind their secret groups.
Yes, sir. That's
They
right.
put the money behind and the resources behind that individual that speaks for the collective.
Yes, sir. Clearly. That's right. It's a must.
And this is what we need to do. So Spike Lee accepted the invitation to come and be a part of it because we have a certain degree, a relationship with Spike Lee and a certain level of respect.
Yes, sir.
But I got shocked that night because I had to sit next to Spike Lee the whole night.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yes.
and that brother in my left ear made me view that brother totally different
Yes, sir.
from how I viewed Spike Lee. From me getting stonewalled at the He Got Game video shoot because of Flavor Flav, and
Right.
me getting thrown under the bus during that time when
Come on.
when Do the Right Thing came out, and
That's right.
all of that madness. I guess we all grow up.
Yes, sir.
You
That's
understand
right.
what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I'm glad that they positioned those seats there at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for me to sit next to Spike Lee.
Yes, sir.
And for me to be in view of the Leon Cohens and the Russell Simmons and the Rick Rubins. I had a healthier conversation. I'm a mature man now. You can't deal with me like that young cat you met when I was in my 20s.
That's right. Yes, sir. That's
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if it was my plan and God allowed me to carry it out, we wouldn't even there would be no Def Jam. But
Yes, sir. That's right.
we here to talk about it on the radio.
Yes, sir.
Right now.
That's right.
Because this is a mature griff.
Yes, sir. That's
You
right.
understand
That's
what I'm saying?
important.
I understand it from a lot deeper perspective.
Right.
I ain't letting their ass off the hook. Oh,
No,
excuse me. I'm not letting them
come
off the
on,
hook
brother.
now.
Yes, sir. That's right. We can't. And no
I'm just
apologies
saying,
here,
I
brother.
understand it a little bit deeper.
Yes, sir. That's right. As we're talking about artists, brother, and we're going to come back and talk about your new projects, of course, with your 3 books that are out right now, the Acapella Revolution, the latest one, and prior to that, of course, the Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop, and, of course, Analytics, 20 Years of Conversation with Professor Griff. Where can brothers and sisters get those books as we're talking about it? And, of course, we're working to do a book signing and lecture here in Tubman City, which is a must with everything that's going on in the country and on the planet right now. But talk about those 3 books so we get back into the artist conversation.
Oh, okay, they can go to my website, www.pgriff.info. And I was having a conversation with a brother, and he says, you know something, MCs and producers need to get your book. I said, why is that? He says, because they're hearing and seeing this firsthand on the formulas that y'all use to put this vibratory frequency, this positive frequency, and set that particular thing in motion that raised the people's consciousness.
That's right. Yes, sir.
I said, that's interesting. I never really looked at it like that. I'm looking at it from the griot perspective.
Right. Yes, sir.
That we need to continue to tell those stories and pass that information down. But producers would need to pick it up, and they would probably extract some things from managers. Those that are thinking about managing or getting into, or those that have written poems and they're sitting somewhere under your mattress or some chest or some on the bookshelf somewhere. You're thinking about publishing them. You might want to get a hold of the book simply because what I put in the book is different formulas, teaching people and showing people that when we write a song, we just don't, like I always say, go in the studio, light an L, get drunk or something, and start spitting lyrics because the beat is hitting.
Right.
We have to put thought, energy, time, and resources and research into these particular songs. This is why the songs will last a lot longer than Public Enemy's lifespan.
That's right.
And that's what they were designed to do. I put songs and music together along with the brothers that's going to reach unborn generations.
That's right. That's important.
Hopefully.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, the proof was in the recent tour, in terms of the generations that came out with the previous Public Enemy, of course, fans and supporters and listeners. As we're talking about artists, of course, our brother, Most Def, who I think his name now is it Yassim Bey?
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact.
Brother, just showed his support.
That's a beautiful thing with the brothers, simply because now these artists are not afraid to do what all the other artists have done all along.
That's right.
We would have never known that the Beastie Boys were Jews.
Yes, sir. That's right. Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's right. Yes, sir.
But I think they're not ashamed of that. And hell, we shouldn't be ashamed of who we are.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Someone was asking me, I must be a Muslim because I changed my name. I said, no.
Right.
I went through my rites of passage, and my name was given to me.
Yes.
And that's just a natural progression of things. But I said, sister, listen, didn't that happen in the Bible a few times?
Yes, sir.
She says, not to my knowledge. Wasn't Abram at one time? Isn't he now Abraham?
Right.
Well, what happened that he changed his name? Was he a Muslim?
Right. Yes, sir.
Or was he presented in the Bible as a Christian? I'm like, come on. You see, it's just a lack of knowledge, brother. Because we don't study and do research, that's all.
That's right. But one of the things our brother did, of course, was to go through the act of being force-fed to show his support for the comrades and Muslims, and they're not all Muslims being held at Guantanamo Bay, some as young as 12 years old, and to see that brother allow himself to go through the treatment, again, of what they're going to. Talk about how artists, again, have to always be, I think, the ones that's in the forefront of being a part of the movement, but again, I think taking the type of stands that we see our brother Most Def taking, and then recently the comments of Lupe Fiasco regarding the verdict and outcome of the Trayvon Martin trial.
Well, in essence, if I could just kind of press the reset button, in essence, brother, you know that those of us that step up and step out, speak up and speak out, to move other people in the context of starting a movement.
That's right.
We're always going to be the target because they kind of figure if we kill the leader, the movement will die.
That's right.
But we're getting wise and hip to that.
Yes.
That's why I say there's no big I and little you.
That's right.
That's why the cry went out that we're all Trayvon. You probably have to kill us all.
That's right.
That's why last year I told you on these very airways, I said you touch one, you touch all.
That's right. Yes, sir.
But a sister just reminded me about 30 minutes ago, we have to do a little bit more, man, than just get mad.
That's right. Yes, sir. That's exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I heard from a close friend of mine, which I really didn't even want to get into an argument with this brother, but he kept toting the line.
Right.
Why is there not an outrage when black people constantly kill black people?
Yes, sir. Right.
I said, because we weren't trained to kill white people.
That's right.
He got mad at me.
Yes, sir. Clearly.
But that's a true statement.
That's a very true statement, brother. Yes, sir.
Bobby E. Wright.
Right. That's right.
Psychopathic racist personality taught us that particular lesson. We weren't taught to kill white people.
That's right. Yes,
so that's just not part of our makeup.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
But were we taught to kill ourselves?
Right.
Yes.
That's right. Yes, sir.
And it's reflective in the culture, in the music,
that's right,
in the art form. In order for you to advance, if you're not making those kind of songs and that kind of music, you will not advance. It's stimulus and response.
That's right. Yes, sir.
This is B.F. Skinner. It's Amos Wilson explaining B.F. Skinner.
Yes.
It's the stimulus and response. If you don't make kill them, shoot them up, sell drugs, murder your mama, do whatever records, you are not going to advance in the culture that we have control over now, as Del Jones teaches us in Culture Bandits.
That's right. Yes, sir. Psychological, as you say, overt as well as covert right now.
Exactly.
Yes,
and
sir.
it's a war going on, good brother,
That's
and
right.
we know that.
That's right.
And
Yes,
with
sir.
this Trayvon Martin thing, can we honestly say, can we honestly say, in truth, each one of us as individuals say that we could have been the one stalked that night.
That's
Our
right.
son could have been the one stalked that night.
Yes.
And can that verdict rest with us if that's the case? It doesn't rest with me. I got 2 sons.
That's right. Yes,
I got
sir.
umpteen nephews.
Yes.
That's not going to rest with me. And I'm telling every white person listening, could that have been Professor Griff stalked that night and shot?
That's right.
Hell no, that would have been a totally different outcome.
Yes, sir. That's right, brother. Yes, sir. Clearly. Thoughts and comments. One on the verdict, the outcome, and then, of course, what we've seen since then from the president, or lack of what we've seen from the president, because we remember what at least John Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy were willing to do at the height of the civil rights movement, when civil rights workers and others were being murdered. They were willing to at least use the power of the Justice Department to go down and to prosecute. But thoughts and comments, one on the verdict and then the outcome since then.
Well, I think my sentiment speaks volumes.
Yes, sir.
Volumes when it comes to just the whole idea of the illusion of justice. They have to make it appear as though that this was a trial of his peers.
Yes, sir.
Now, do we need to get into the makeup of the trial of the jurors? We don't need to do that because it's quite obvious.
Yes.
You know, a few white women and an Asian chick, that's not a jury of my peers.
Right.
I'm not. Trust me, it's not.
That's right.
Where's the black man?
Yes.
Where's even the white man?
Right.
Where's the balance? Where's the ma'at?
That's
Where's
right.
the truth, balance, justice, reciprocity in that?
Yes.
Are you following? We don't need to get into that. But the verdict, in and of itself, I'm not surprised. That's number one.
Yes.
But I am surprised that people were surprised.
Right. Yes.
This is fine-tuning racism, white supremacy. That's all this is. Were they waiting for? Were they waiting for a backlash, or were they waiting for people to take to the streets and riot?
Mm-hmm.
White people, I hope you're listening. You have nothing to worry about.
Yes, sir.
Black people are not going to do that.
That's right.
Plain and simple. What you do need to worry about is those of us that are sitting back strategizing, and the ones that are coming together, because we plan to slow racism, white supremacy down to the point where we'll give you the opportunity to understand what's going on. But after that, we're going to put it back in the creator's hands and check. And guess what? Yes. Whatever go down, go down.
Right. Yes, sir. Again, family.
Plain and simple.
That's right. Again, family, just tuning in, having a conversation with brother Professor Griff from Public Enemy. Well, I mean, you did an album entitled Pawns in the Game. Some would say that clearly what we saw coming out of Sanford, Florida, and coming out of the state of Florida was, I think, just that, pawns in the games. And maybe black people with the election or selection of Barack Obama no longer know where they are on the chessboard, or even know that we're playing a game of chess, or perhaps they think we're playing checkers, or they don't know that all of this perhaps is part of a grand chessboard. Thoughts and comments on that, brother?
But check this out, brother Darren. You can't bring a tennis racket to a chess game.
Yes, sir.
You got the wrong sport.
That's right.
You playing by the wrong rules.
Yes.
So what we need to do, I mentioned it one time, and a brother had checked me on it, so I pulled back on it. I put up a picture of Trayvon Martin's dad.
Yes.
And he was in full regalia.
Right.
Regalia. Now, he had the whole uniform on, the Shriners,
yes, sir.
Masonic,
That's right.
Freemason,
right.
whole thing on. And
yes.
I went into it a little. I started hinting around, I think this was last year sometime, I started hinting around at his connections to the Masonic order. Right. I'm thinking blood sacrifice.
Yes.
That's where my head was at.
Sure.
I put it to rest.
Yes.
I left it alone.
Yes.
I did it in one lecture. I
right.
pulled back from it, and guess what's happening?
Yes, sir.
It's hitting me right in the back of the head today as we speak.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes. And
there's rumors going around
yes.
that maybe he is connected.
That's right.
Maybe there's a brotherhood between the fraternal order that he belongs to and Barack Obama.
Yes,
this
sir.
is why Barack Obama was silent up to a certain point.
Yes.
What was there somebody paid off on behind the scenes that we don't know about?
Right. That's
was
right.
the special handshake invoked? Was it a certain energy, a certain oath? invoked to the point where they had to both adhere to.
Right.
And we're going to take a payoff and yada, yada, yada.